This is the 49 Carats Prospect Spotlight. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Prospect Spotlight, where you get a chance to learn more about NFL draft hopefuls. I'm Steph Sanchez, and today I'm excited to be joined by Idaho wide receiver Hayden Hatten. How you doing today, Hayden?
Hey, I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me. And, this is an exciting little process. It's exciting to get to do things like this. And, being on your podcast is a privilege. So thank you.
Thanks, man. I mean, it's an exciting process for me too, getting to know players who are going through this process. So definitely excited to hear about your journey. So let's just get right into it, right? So you played some tight end in high school. You transitioned to wide receiver in your freshman season at Idaho. I can't imagine that was a huge adjustment for you, but like what went into making that transition? As far as like, did you have to cut down some weight? How was that adjustment for you?
Yeah, I actually didn't play much of any tight end in high school, which is I was a bigger receiver in high school, and I transferred high schools to Saguaro, which was a football powerhouse. We had a head coach named Jason Mons with really good at getting guys' names out there, and I just kind of listened to what he had to say, and he's like, "Hey, if you want an opportunity to play Division I football, with the way that some of these college scouts are talking about you, your best ability, like your best opportunity is going to come as a tight end." And I never really played tight end in high school. I always was split out and played like traditional X or Y or X or Z, and rotated in at the slot quite a bit. And I was just excited to try to get an opportunity to play college football to where I was willing to itch wherever it scratched. Right, if a program wanted a tight end, I was going to go be a tight end. And Idaho reached out to me, and every school who was really recruiting me was thinking about me as a tight end. And I was just excited to go play ball. So I put on a lot of weight to play tight end and be ready to play. And as a true freshman, I played tight end, which was pretty crazy because I didn't play it much at all really growing up. And I was I was still like practically a receiver. I think when I went in the game, other personnel still looked at me like a 11 personnel guy, because when I came in, it was mostly passing situations, and I was like our second like receiving tight end, right? Like, so our 12 personnel, but you really have like another end tight end who's going to run your intermediate corner routes and digs and stuff like that. And so that's what I did mainly my freshman year. And then of course like backside blocking and stuff like that. A lot of down blocking. I didn't do a ton of pass pro like a traditional like 11 personnel tight end might have to do. And then by the end of the year, we had a couple of guys go down, and Coach Petrino was like, the way he was using me, he was practically using me as a receiver anyways. And he gave me the start as a true X at the end of the year. And in my first start, I scored 2 touchdowns, and he's like, "That's it. Hatton's the X. He's never moving back to tight end." So they let me lose all the weight again. And I think I was up to like 225, around 225, 230, and then let me cut it all back down. By the start of next year, I was like 208, back to what I wanted to be playing at.
It's funny, like how that works out. Like, I mean, you just wanted to get on the field any way that you could, and I mean, you did that, moving a tight end. It shows you're a team guy, and you're willing to do whatever for the team. But then once you get that opportunity as a wide receiver, like, you never let that go. So it's pretty awesome. Was there a year at Idaho where you felt like, the game just started to slow down for you, things started to click?
I was actually surprised. I felt like I was more prepared than I was expecting to be prepared as a true freshman, right? Like I always knew I could play, and I'm very confident in myself and my abilities, but I didn't realize how well a lot of my skills translated to college, right? And when I got there, I as a tight end, right, I was I was still used a lot in the passing game, and my hands are something that I pride my game around, and I think that's something that the coaching staff at Idaho kind of noticed early, and I built a lot of trust with them just through practice, and actually being a tight end got me on the field sooner because
Yeah.
a lot of roles for tight end build bodies in special teams as well. So like I think I was doing really well in special teams. I was like our fullback for kick return. I was on the punt team, and I was on the like punt return team doing like linebacker ish things, like mugging people up. And I was doing really well in that. That I think it built trust for them to look at me to getting on the field as a true position player. And so it's weird how the process goes. You just kind of have to go with the flow and leave all doors open, especially when you get to a Division I school. You don't want to shut anything out and be like, oh, I'm not doing that. That's the worst thing you can do. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot and cut yourself from the team before you even get an opportunity. And so I was just it's really funny how it all worked out, and I'm really glad it worked out the way it did. And yeah, it's just it's been a transition, but it was a good transition. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, for sure. And like I see that like in 2022, your redshirt fresh or sorry sophomore season, like you just kind of exploded onto the scene after having that previous year of having dealt with some injuries. But after that, like you ended up leading the Big Sky Conference in yards and touchdowns, consensus All American, FCS ADA wide receiver of the year. And you were just able to build off of that in 2023 as well. Like you increased your catches and your yards. What are you most proud of when you look back at your time at Idaho?
I think I'm just most proud of the fact that I stuck it through. I didn't have a traditional like upbringing at Idaho, right? Because I was playing a position that I wasn't familiar with, but I just wanted to be playing ball, and then the COVID season came around where we only got 6 games, and I had a great COVID year playing true receiver as my first time, and COVID actually helped me because it gave me an extra 6 months because we didn't play in the fall. It gave me an extra 6 months to get my body into real shape to play true receiver. And so, I took a lot of that time to work on myself and transition back to what I was used to, and doing it in a healthy way, not just starving myself and getting weaker. What I'm most proud of is that when I had my shoulder injury, I was coming off of a first team all conference year as a true sophomore, and I only played 3 games, and then my coaching staff who recruited me, Paul Petrino, they got a legacy coaching family, and when he got let go, I wasn't really sure what I should do. We had a new coaching staff coming in. I just had shoulder surgery. I was going to be missing spring ball with this new coaching staff, and it's so easy for a kid in that position. Okay, I have the film. I have this. I'm going to leave. I don't want to. I don't want to reprove myself here. Like I've already done it. And so it's a mental battle because I've never missed a game due to injury besides for that season. And so that was my first time ever, being out. And when the new coaching staff came in, just like any coaching staff, they're gonna promise you the world. They want you to stay, but at the end of the day, it's still an evaluation period.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to stay, and I'm so glad I did. I love Coach Eck and the coaching staff, but it definitely took a little time for them to begin trusting me and trusting in my abilities. And and I don't blame them. I missed all spring ball. I'm supposed to learn an entirely new playbook, and I'm a smart kid, but there's a difference between understanding the concept they want you to run and practicing it with the team, right, and doing it in front of everybody. And so that fall camp leading up to the 2022 season was really my spring ball fall camp evaluation period all slammed into one. And it made it a difficult transition for me to try to show these coaches, my abilities and what I could do. But, after a few couple games under their belt, they started to trust me more and more, and they started to give me the ball a little more. And, the whole offense just kind of kind of flourished, and you could see with how we did production wise that year, how everybody just started trusting each other, right?
Yeah, and it seemed like that trust growing like really paid off for you as well because 2023 season you were voted by your teammates as a team captain, right? So how did it feel to you know get that honor from your teammates and be seen as a leader in the locker room?
Yeah, that's to date is the one of the most special like nods you can receive as a player. There's the All American stuff, which is fantastic, but those guys aren't with us. They don't see what goes on inside the building, and it's so easy to perceive things through glass lens, like somewhere else where you can, everybody's gonna have their opinion. If a guy has really good yards, they're gonna be like, oh, that guy's a captain, but you don't really know what he's like, day to
Mhm.
day, and how he practices and how he treats his teammates. And so, being able to have that on my resume, just more for myself, is such an honor because those are guys that all my best friends are on the team there, and I'll be a Vandal fan for the rest of my life. And being able to go back and wear that captain patch forever is an honor, and I'm just so thankful for the guys to look at me in that spotlight.
Well, now as you're preparing, for this next step of your career, preparing for the NFL draft, like you had a chance to compete at the Hula Bowl, and that's another, big accomplishment for you. So congrats on that. What was that week like for you getting to compete with like other draft hopefuls?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, right? I think anybody who's gone to those bowl games knows that it's constantly moving. There's a lot of things going on, but it's just such an amazing opportunity that um, when you get any opportunity like that, you just have to make the most of it and stay positive. And it's fun going against guys from different schools, and either they're other FCS guys or big Pac-12,
Mhm.
uh, Power Five guys. It's just fun to go and compete against people like that, because if these guys are the cream of the crop, I want to be the cream of the crop. I want to show what I can do against these guys. And so having that opportunity to go play against them was fantastic, and having the opportunity to go meet with scouts and talk to people one on one. I think that's a big part of the recruiting process that people
For
don't
sure.
realize, right? And I think those interviews, what they open up for these scouts is to see, hey, how confident is this guy in himself? How confident is this guy in his play? Does this guy know his football? And they're going to ask you questions they know the answer to. How honest is this guy? How and so it's a big character evaluation test, to say. And
Yeah.
it's a but it was an awesome experience. And it's sad it only comes around one time. I'd like to do it again.
Well, I mean, the next step you'll be playing against like all the all-stars of all those former teams. So, and yeah, I mean, it is a great opportunity to get to talk to teams, let them get to know you, and vice versa. Um, were there any conversations that gave you a good vibe or that just stood out to you?
I mean, yeah, I had a handful of great conversations while I was there. I'm not gonna list any of them specifically, just because it's all it's kind of like when you're getting recruited to college, right? It's like, hey, we like you a lot. It's like, well, you gonna offer me?
Yeah.
And so, your words only go so far until you back it up. And we're at this transitional period right now where you really don't know what's going on, and where people list you on your board, and if
Right.
people even have you on their board. And again, there's a lot of teams in the NFL that aren't looking for a later pick receiver. They need other spots to fill. And so, just like when I was getting recruited, there was a lot of teams who had a full wide receiver or tight end room, and so, um, again, you itch where it scratches, and hopefully those teams, are willing to take a chance on me. And but yeah, I had a lot of great conversations. There's a lot of great people in the football world. You learn that
Yeah.
as you talk to more and more people. Just a lot of great social people, great family people. Um, you know, it's a I wish more people got to see that side of football because it is exciting. There's a lot of great people with great morals and great characteristics that you're like, wow, that's a good dude. Like like a scout, not a
Yeah.
scout, player, not a player. I'd hang out with this guy, and so it's a it was a really fun experience, and I'm glad I just got that opportunity to go talk to all of them and you know kind of introduce myself and give them my story and hear theirs as well.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. Like they're like in going to the Senior Bowl, like and getting to interview players, even just doing these like I'm like, wow, like, they're just they're just normal people, like, and why wouldn't they be, right? So yeah, it's definitely cool to see the human side of all the players and get to know them because there are a lot of great personalities in the NFL and in football. So I
Yeah,
definitely agree with you there. Now, like, so when I watch you play, you have quite a bit of highlight reel catches, great body control, hand-eye coordination, you win at the catch point. But if I had a guess, like I'd say you're a competitor, right? And one thing I know about competitors is that you're probably your toughest critic. So when you watch yourself, what are some of the things you feel like you could still improve on?
yeah, I'm definitely my toughest critic. I think that it's something that it's a blessing and a curse, right? But it really is a blessing. I think there's a lot of things in my game that I do well, and there's a lot of things in my game that I can always improve on. And you're ignorant if you don't think there's something that you can constantly improve, right? And so I think for me, uh, one, and it just comes with just top end speed, and that's something I've been working on a ton here. Um, you know, uh, I'm down at Lando training for the combine slash like pro day stuff, and really working on my running form. And I never did track, so I've just always played team sports, football, basketball, baseball, my entire life growing up, and so that's something I can definitely work on and implement in my game is just overall getting bigger, faster, stronger, right? And who can't say that? But another thing for me would be uh, I do a good job of identifying coverages. I need to trust my routes and be more decisive before the snap of like, okay, this is the coverage, run that route, run it
Mhm.
hard. Don't second guess yourself because of don't get in your own head. Don't get in your own way, right? Sometimes if you're wrong, you're still right if you win, right? And so um, doing that, I think, will really help me. And then just getting in and out of my breaks more efficiently. There's a lot of times you're running like your stop routes or and this year was really funky for me because I got a lot of cover two. I didn't see a lot of man, especially to the boundary. I got a lot of cloud, but people mixed up coverages and ran things that I didn't see all year on film against just us, and so um, there, just trusting in the route, getting in and out of my breaks quickly, and I can always become a better route runner. I can always get bigger, faster, stronger. Sky's the limit for those, but yeah, I think that's something that I can really improve on, and it'll help take my game to the next level and where it needs to be. And I think that those are things that I'm definitely focusing on now is improving the top end speed, improving my quickness, and just grasping. And then of course coverages, identifying coverages. You get to the NFL and
Mhm.
there's very rare time you see people run cookie cutter stuff. They're gonna disguise things. They're gonna do a lot of different things that you like. I don't see a ton of two invert in college. Teams just don't run it, but you get to the league and they're going to run it, and it's going to look way different. You're going to think you're seeing
Mhm.
something else, and it's a completely different defense than you're expecting. So, continuing with that film study and learning.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, I mean, teams breaking tendencies, like, to guard you, I think it says a lot about how much they respect you as a player as well. But it definitely will give you some experience for, having played against different types of coverages throughout your college career. Um, I know that the combine is happening right now. I believe, the wide receivers work out on Saturday. Do you plan to tune in, and how are you using those numbers from the combine to kind of fuel the fire for your pro day?
Yeah, there's a lot of things in life that you can't control. Um, Me going to the combine is one of those things that I can't control. It's out of my reach. I if I could have signed the papers to be there, I would have. I didn't have the opportunity to, and that's okay. All I can do is keep my head down and continue working and being ready for my pro day. I was told a lot growing up that I was never going to be a receiver in college, and I did that pretty well. So you just can't listen to the naysayers of stuff like that. But yeah, of course I'll be tuning in. Those are the guys I see myself competing against for those spots, in the draft. And there's it fuels the fire, but the fire's already been fueled because I'm not there. And I
Yeah.
have a chip on my shoulder to go and kind of prove people wrong. And I think the a big question mark for me and just in my abilities is how's he going to test, and there's a lot of good things that happened for me going to the University of Idaho. I had monster production. I think that I have a lot of game experience, and that's something you can't replicate. I played in like
Yeah.
40 games, and there's a lot of people who are at the combine who are lucky to have played in 15 to 20, and I know what it's like to be in a big game. I know what it's like to be under the lights and have big moments. But the disadvantage of going to the University of Idaho is the combine only took 12 or 15 people from the FCS this year to go to the combine, and
Mm.
uh, and so and again, that's okay. I can only control what I can control, and I'm forever thankful to being a Vandal, and I would have loved to be one of those guys they took. I'm not, and it doesn't discourage me. I just have to go out there and take advantage of my opportunities, and my opportunity comes pro day March 27th.
March 27th, less than a month to go, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I love your answer on that because like it's all about perspective, and it seems like you got the right perspective on it. Now look, I always end my interviews with this question: what is a team and a fan base getting with Hayden Hatten?
Uh, well, for one, they're getting somebody who really loves football. You know, I, all I want to do is play, no matter where it is, and I have no favorite team or anything. I just want to be on a team playing football because it's the game I love. And um, for the team, they're getting a guy who's willing to do anything to be on the team. I don't care what my role is. I just want to find a place to stick and hopefully get a group of people behind me, either the coaching staff or players or stuff that they go, hey, that's a good guy. That's a guy that should be in the locker room. And for the fan base, they're going to get a good representation of the team. I'm a low maintenance guy when it comes to the media and, you know, making decisions and stuff. I think I got a good head on my shoulders for that. So I'll shine bright in the media for the team.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it, man. I mean, this interview went great. Definitely enjoyed our conversation, and I know a team would definitely love to have that, on their team. So definitely appreciate your time, Hayden. Like I said, and best of luck. These
Yeah.
these next few months and beyond, of course. Good luck. I'm gonna be checking in on that pro day, see how you do.
Yeah. Thank
Um,
you. I think I'm going to turn some heads. I feel very
yeah,
confident
okay,
about it. And
love
with
it.
where I'm training right now, um, I feel very, very good. A lot of,
Love the confidence.
yeah, exactly. And then add one more thing for the team. They're getting a playmaker.
There
You
you go.
can't make that up. But that happens with doing it a lot in a game. And I'm fortunate to be one of those guys.
And I know you can back up the talk, like, because I've seen it. You are a playmaker, so yeah, a team is definitely gonna love that. But Hayden, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you all, everyone that tuned in. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, because there will be plenty more prospect spotlight interviews just like this one. But for now, have a good rest of your Thursday, folks. Peace.
Thank you, Steph. I